Good morning, 7th graders. This is Mr. Cahiga here, and we're going to go over the first few questions of the Declaration of Independence. This is the document that our founding fathers wrote and signed that declared our independence from England. Remember, the 13 colonies were not American colonies to begin with. They belonged to England, and so did the people who lived in them. For a variety of reasons, which we will go over, the colonists felt that they were fed up with the king, fed up with his actions, fed up with him not listening to the colonists, and so they finally created this document that declared independence from England and the King of England. As you can see in front of us now is our copy of the Declaration of Independence. And then on the second page, or I'm sorry, at the end of it, we have our questions. The first question is, why was the Declaration of Independence written? In your opinion, what two events led up to this document's creation? And remember, we are detectives investigating the Declaration of Independence, analyzing the Declaration of Independence, and in order to be good detectives, we need evidence in our answers. So let's start with the preamble. This is the beginning of the Declaration of Independence. And it reads, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. And then they list the Declaration of Rights. These are the rights that the colonists believe they are born with. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That means that the government's powers come from the people that are being governed, in this case, us, the citizens. They continue, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter and to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations. All have in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. And now they provide their list of grievances or complaints they have against the king. So let's look through these grievances and find two reasons why they wrote this document. Let's look at this one right here. One reason they wrote this document was for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. What they mean by quartering is he allowed soldiers of the English military to come in and take over your homes, take over your food, take over everything as they wished. So let's say a British officer comes to your house and says, I need this house to stay in. Me and my men need this house to live. We need this house to eat. We need this house to bathe. It is now your responsibility to give up your house. Not only do you have to give up your house, but you will have to feed them, clothe them, bathe them, wash their clothing. Anything they ask, you have to do. So let's go to this number one. So one reason could be for quartering troops amongst the colonists. Another way to put that would be to the king allowed soldiers to take over homes. Now let's go to our next piece of evidence. For imposing taxes on us without our consent. What that means is the king was taxing the colonists without their say. So that would be like me, for example, saying that US students owe me $5 every single time you enter my classroom. You don't get any say in it. You don't get any power. I don't have to listen to any of your complaints about it. If you don't want to be counted absent, if you want an education, you have to pay me $5 every single time you step foot in my classroom. Is that fair? No. Should you have a say in how you're taxed? Yeah, probably, right? So this is another main reason why they wrote this document. So the second reason is because the king taxed the colonies without their say. Okay. Question number 2 is, who was the King of England during this time? And what were his thoughts about the colonists who were not loyal to him? Describe his thoughts about colonists who were not loyal to him. So first of all, the King of England at this time is King George III. And what does he believe about colonists who are not loyal to him? So any colonists that sign this document, any colonists that talk about independence from England, he believes should be arrested as traitors and executed for the crime of treason. So he's very serious about preventing any sort of independence. He wants to hold on to these colonies, and he wants to hold his power over the colonists. Let's go to number 3. And finally, number 3. Right, one basic right that the Declaration of Independence guaranteed for all men. Let's go back to our document and look at our Declaration of Rights our founding fathers stated in this document. It begins with, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have our rights right there. So what is one basic right? All men are created equal. And as we look further into American history, we'll begin to understand that they mean all white men are created equal, and that every man has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you have any further questions, you can join me during the office hours today posted in the updates, or you can email Mr. Reynolds and I. Please do not forget to watch the mini lesson with Mr. Reynolds to get help with the rest of the questions. Have a good day, everyone.